And he was right not to. Because the very next morning, Karen came back, this time with the HOA president. And that's when things really started to escalate. She wasn't used to people standing up to her. Her eyes narrowed, her voice dropping into a hiss as S. He spoke. This isn't over. I'll take this to the board. We'll vote to escalate this legally. You'll regret messing with me. I crossed my arms and met her stare without blinking. Go ahead. Just remember. The last person who tried to push this family ended up selling their house just to escape mess they created. Do you really want to test us? Her lips pressed into a thin, angry line before. She spun around and walked off. Dalton and the others followed, though none of them looked eager. Everyone knew Karen's reputation for stirring trouble, but very few were willing to stand toe-to-toe with the law the way she was trying to do. When they were gone, Luke let out a slow breath. She's like a storm that never passes. Storms always pass, I said, placing a steady hand on his shoulder. What matters is how you stand when they hit. We have history, the law, and the truth on our side. Let her throw whatever she wants. We'll outlast her. As we headed back toward the porch, I noticed Karen pacing near her SUV, phone pressed tightly to her ear, moving like a caged animal. Something told me she was already planning her next move. This time, it wouldn't be just a warning. 2 days after Karen's so-called inspection, a thick envelope arrived in the mail. It was printed on heavy paper, stamped with the HOA's gold logo like a badge of authority. I opened it at the kitchen table while Luke leaned against the counter, watching my face as I read. My jaw tightened. Well, okay at this. They're threatening legal action now. The letter claimed we were obstructing community standards and refusing to comply with HOA regulations. A $1,000 fine. Remove the dock within 7 days. Luke scoffed. $1,000 for our own dock? They've lost their minds. Not low. I said calmly, setting the letter down. Desperate. Karen's losing control, and this is her way. Pushing harder. But this won't stand up in court. We've got too much proof. I walked to the old wooden desk by the window and opened the bottom drawer, pulling out the manila folder I'd kept ready for years. Inside were land deeds, permits, and records stretching back GNRAT. Ions. As I laid them out, Luke stared in disbelief. Dad, you've had all this ready? Of course. When you grow up on land like this, you learn early that someone will always try to take what isn't theirs. Your great-grandfather fought the railroad when they tried to reroute water from this lake. Your grandfather battled the county when they wanted to drain it for irrigation. Now it's our turn to DEA. With an HOA and a woman who doesn't understand where the line is drawn. Luke nodded, determination settling into his face. Then we fight. I'm ready. That afternoon, we drove into town to the county records office, an old red brick building that smelled of paper and dust. Mrs. Delaney looked up as we walked in and smiled. Mr. Harper. Haven't seen you in a while. HOA trouble, I said, placing the letter on her counter. They're trying to claim RL. falls under their authority. I need certified copies of every deed and water rights document. Adjusted her glasses and sighed. Not this again. I thought that boundary issue was settled. It was. Some people just don't like hearing no. An hour later, we walked out with a stack of certified documents proving Harper Lake had been private property since 1874. Luke held the folder like it was armor. Karen's not going to know what hit her. Don't get cocky, IW. Aren't. People like her double down when they're wrong. That's when they're most dangerous. When we got home, Karen's SUV was parked by our gate. She stood there with Dalton and two bored mem. Heirs, snapping photos of the dock. I stepped out of the truck, folder in hand. What do you think you redoing? Karen turned with a smug smile. Documenting violations. These are going straight to our attorney. I walked up to the gate and opened the folder. Karen, listen carefully. This deed proves every inch of this lake belongs to my family. Your HOA has zero authority here. If you keep trespassing, I'll have the sheriff issue a restraining order. Dalton studied the stamps, his confidence faltering. Is that real? Go ask the county clerk yourself. Luke stepped beside me, his wildlife warden badge catching the light. And interfering with a state wildlife officer's duties is a crime. You're on thin ice. Karen's smile cracked for just a second BF. Or she straightened. This isn't over. We'll see you in court. Good, I said. That's where the truth wins. At the emergency HOA meeting 2 days later, Karen tried to put us on display. Instead, the truth be you. Read her. The documents spoke louder than her threats. Dalton admitted the board had no jurisdiction. The room turned quiet. Karen stormed out humiliated, muttering promises she could no longer back you. After that, the silence was telling. Then came the sheriff's notice, another false complaint filed. Why Karen? This time, the warning was for her. By evening, the neighbors started stopping by. Quiet Sue. Porters. People she had bullied into silence. Luke stood taller than I'd ever seen him. When the county wildlife department officially designated Harper Lake under Luke's supervision, the last bit of power Karen thought she had disappeared. By the weekend, the valley was peaceful again. No HOA cars. No threats. Just water, wind, and birdsong. Standing on the dock that morning, Luke looked out over the lake and said he finally understood what this place meant. It wasn't just land. It was identity. Legacy. Responsibility. I told him that's why our family fought so hard to protect it. Some things are worth standing your ground for. As the sun set over Harper Lake, I felt something rare, peace earned, not given. This fight was never just about a dock or an HOA. It was about knowing who you are and refusing to be pushed off your own ground. And here, by this lake, history stood stronger than any rulebook ever could.